So this video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to start a new series here talking about my personal natural health and wellness journey. What we're going to talk about today is a miraculous healing that I did to myself just maybe 2 weeks ago. So, and how I did it and what I did during that time. Now, none of this is medical advice. I am not a doctor. Do not do anything I say or do. I am just telling you what I did myself when I went from I couldn't walk and I could barely get out of bed for 3 days and I was in extreme pain, extreme swelling, extreme inflammation, felt like I tore my ACL, to now I'm great. I can jump up and down on my leg. I can squat. I went for a run on day 8. I went for a run. So I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, I have like this genetic thing, my dad has it too, where sometimes our right knee rotates just slightly, right? Usually not a big deal, usually some swelling, couple days, usually it pops back into place. Not like anything crazy, just needs some rest. Well, it happened to me while I was jogging and it never went back into place, and I just continued, going hard in the gym and all this kind of stuff. It was just like mild irritation, and then it progressively got a little bit worse, and I was just like, well, it's not, but I'll take a couple of rest days, it'll go down, whatever. And I was doing some heavy leg work, and no big deal during the workout. During the workout, I could complete it. I wasn't able to like squat fully, but I could still squat with just minimal pain, like no big deal. Anyways, the next day, about halfway through the morning, I'm like driving around and I just get this like crazy pain, and I just feel like, okay, I need to just go home and lay down, right? And I was just like feeling that, I was hearing that, I was like, just go home and lay down. Whatever you do, just do that. So I did that, and then I couldn't walk for like 3 or 4 days. Like I couldn't sit down. I couldn't bend my leg more than like this much. It felt like I like ripped my ACL or something. Like my calf was like maybe 2.5 times its normal size, and like incredible pain. But again, I'm a naturalist. I don't trust doctors. I don't trust hospitals. I don't trust for-profit medicine. Ain't no way I'm going to go to them and have them tell me to amputate my leg to save it, or pay $300,000 for a MRI scan and take a bunch of Tylenol and go home and get some rest, or whatever their situation, their plan was to extract money from my bank account. I was good on all that. So I tried something drastic. I was recently watching some videos about fasting before surgery, and I wasn't going into surgery or anything. I just ended up on these fasting videos, and it was talking about like fasting for 10 to 14 days before you go into surgery. And I was like, well, that's crazy. Let me watch more about this. And really it's just about healing, accelerating your ability to heal and repair. Now, the big thing that with Americans especially, but a lot of people just think that, what we eat, the more we consume, it's good stuff we're consuming or bad stuff we're consuming, but the things that we're consuming, vitamins, this thing, that thing, food, whatever it is that we're consuming, that's contributing to our overall health. And yes, to a massive degree, totally. But it's more geared toward like your growth, right? And what you're consuming is like how you're growing. Like when you enter a fasting state, you actually kind of shut off those growth switches for a little bit and actually enter a true like healing state where your body is now allowed to repair. So kind of emptying the vessel instead of just keep packing stuff on top of it, letting the vessel kind of empty and then let your body do its natural course. Because you got to remember, primitive times, we weren't able to go to Walmart and Target and have all of our fruit roll-ups at 24/7 and get McDonald's whenever we wanted, and always have a freezer full of steak and eggs or whatever. Like that wasn't how reality worked back in the day. Like humans would go and hunt and then have a big feast, and then like there'd be periods of time where you weren't able to eat. So the body is kind of adapted to these longer periods of fasting, and your body actually craves it. But a lot of people, they just never do it because it's like food's always available, and it's like, whatever way you're attached to food. I know I used to be really big into like how food would make me feel better. I've kind of healed myself from that, but using food as like a antidepressant or something. But let's talk about the fasting. Long story short, after a 7-day fast, the first 3 days I could not walk, and I couldn't sit down. I was like literally just stuck in bed. So I was putting ice on it constantly and just fasting, right? Day 4, I got some mobility back. Day 5, I got more mobility back. Day 4, 5, and 6, the inflammation started reducing. Day 7, I felt great. I wasn't at 100%, but I felt like incredibly better. I had like most of my knee mobility back. The pain was subsided. I could walk around. I didn't, though. I was like, I'm going to just give it that full 7 days to let the maximum healing take place that I can here. And it was miraculous. I did some other things too, like putting ice on it. I made sure to supplement electrolytes, potassium, sodium, magnesium throughout the fast with some water. I'll tell you a little bit about how to do that. But let's go through what actually happens during your fasting, because it is one of the best healing things you can do for your body. And I've done fast before, never a 7-day fast before, but I've done 3-day fast, I've done 5-day fast, and I always felt like great after it. And the 7-day fast, I felt like I could have kept going, but also I was kind of hungry. So let's get started here with day 1, what's actually happening. All right, your body's like clearing out, right? Your insulin is starting to lower. Your glycogen is starting to deplete, right? This is where a lot of water weight is lost. There's some people, they lose 2 or 3, 4 or 5 pounds right in the first day because of so much water weight that's getting cut out. The glycogen, these are, that's like where your carbs are. So you're moving away from burning carbs and into burning fat. It's not really that like crazy the first 24 hours, but you're moving into this. Just like you're moving into this, you're shutting off the growth signals, you're turning on the repair signals. It's kind of like this is like the initiation, the activation, right? Day 2, this is where ketosis, this is where your liver's producing ketones. And that starts to, your brain's running on these kind of things. Your body's running on ketones. I'll do a video on ketones and ketosis and keto, because I found that to be very helpful too. Autophagy begins. Autophagy is one of the most incredible things the human body can do, but a lot of people never enter autophagy, and it's like a saving grace. It is something you need to have no matter how healthy you think. Autophagy is just something that is just great for everybody. You don't have to do a 7-day fast to enter autophagy. After 2 or 3 days, you can be in a pretty good autophagy state. But it just means, autophagy literally just means your body is recycling old and damaged cells, mitochondria, all types of things in your body that are like not useful anymore. They're too old, and they're damaged, or they're fucked up in some way, and then your body's like, well, I'm not having food anymore, so I got to eat something. So it starts eating these damaged cells, and you gotta kind of look at, like, I don't know how to look at it, like a recycling center or something. It's taking all of this old junk and melting it down to its base components, and then later on it's going to start using those base components for new cells, brand new mitochondria, healthy mitochondria. But on top of that, it'll also start creating stem cells, but that's later on in the fast. Your hunger starts to lessen. It kind of depends who you are. And I think the biggest factor here is like, how many carbs do you usually eat? Like, are you a really heavy carb eater? and junk food too. Like if you're really super addicted to like Cheetos and Mountain Dew, like there's carbs, but then there's also all like the chemicals that they keep you addicted on this shit with, right? So how addicted are you to food? I stick to mostly natural foods. I try to keep my carb levels down. I'm not gonna lie and say I'm carb free. I'd love to be carb free, but I love carbs too, right? But your hunger lessens. I really feel just from personal experience that it's through your carb intake. Your liver is making the ketones, and I guess I wrote hunger lessons twice. But and then the glycogen is starting to completely wash out of your body, right? Which is cool, because now you're burning fat. Now you're burning ketones. Deeper ketosis, autophagy accelerates. That's what we really want. This is I think this is everything. This is an anti-aging tool. Okay, why? Because it's eating up old crap. The damaged cells that are broken to key components for new cells. That's what autophagy, the recycling factory, is going, right? Brain power mood goes up, which is crazy because you think, oh, I don't have any food, so I'm going to be in a lower energy state. Wrong, because you're burning ketones and you're burning fat now, which is a higher density. There's more joules of energy per gram in fat and ketones than there is in carbs. Carbs are like sugar spike. You ever heard of a sugar rush or a sugar crash? Well, why? Because it's very short, fast, explosive energy, but it's also minimal energy, and that's why it runs out and you crash. Fat energy is longer, lasts longer. Hunger decreases, right? Isn't that cool that your hunger is decreasing as you're not eating, right? I know the very first fast I ever did, I wasn't experiencing this hunger decreasing so much because I was still eating a lot of crap before I started it. And the mental clarity is increasing. Stable ketosis, right? Now I've talked to doctors before where they, this is dangerous and you can enter a really dangerous state being in ketosis, but I've never experienced that myself. The brain is running on ketones primarily. Your clarity's improving. You're gonna possibly show signs of weakness. I didn't experience this too much because I was stuck in bed. I was already I wasn't weak. I wanted to move around. I wanted to work out, but I was I'm just stuck in bed. I can't really do anything anyway. So you're going into deep ketosis day 5. That means you're I don't know if this is the right term for it. Some people say this term's a myth, but you can get what's called fat adapted, where you're burning fat primarily. Fat burning accelerates, that's for sure, that happens. Inflammation is reducing system-wide. So this is actually what happened to me. The inflammation, the swelling in my leg, it went down. The feeling of maybe a ligament is torn or a muscle is torn or a bone is out of place. I don't know what was going on. It was painful, but that started subsiding quite a lot around day 5. The deep autophagy, the recycling centers on maximum capacity right now. Stem cell production is happening now, where everybody's paying all this extra money and flying to Mexico to get all this stem cell injections and everything. Isn't it cool your body can actually make its own stem cells? You have to get into the right state of being for that, which is a fasting state, but your body can actually make new stem cells. I'm 42 years old. I'm making stem cells over here fasting, right? It doesn't matter how old you are. Mental sharpness, calm, clarity, it's all going up, right? Day 6, your body is prioritizing healing and maintenance. It's eating up all those damaged cells. It's repairing all those damaged sites. Immune system reset is beginning, right? When I was learning a little bit more about this, now I wish maybe I should have went 9 days, 12 days, 14 days. That's okay, I'll do it. But the immune system reset is beginning. Now, for me, I did not do just a pure water fast. I supplemented with electrolytes. I definitely suggest supplementing with electrolytes. What is that? Sodium, so that's salt. Potassium, right? Not eating bananas. You can get potassium pills, but it's a waste of money, I think. You can buy this thing called no salt. So it's for people that can't really handle a lot of salt. It's called no salt. It's like $2 or something. It's pure potassium. It's just a salt shaker full of pure potassium. Doesn't taste like salt. Tastes kind of like not salt or no salt, but it's salty enough. And then magnesium, which I got primarily my magnesium from like trace minerals. You buy like a trace minerals, which is like evaporated seawater, which is like 80 or 90% of it is magnesium. So I just mix those together in a little glass, not a lot, just a little bit of salt, a little bit of no salt, a little bit of trace minerals, mixed it up, drank that once a day. I had no like fatigue or weakness or anything like that, except for on day 1 or 2, I forget, I stood up like too fast with my broken leg trying to hobble around, get some water, and I like almost fainted. So like it was like a blood pressure thing, I think. So fat is the primary, but after that, day 3, 4, 5, 6, and it never happened again. So it was like a one-time thing. I think it was really mostly from me just standing up too fast and being in like a sedentary position for too long. But what could I do? I was freaking, my leg felt like it was broke. So fat is primary fuel source, right? You want to lose weight? Well, fasting's incredible at doing this. Day 7, you're efficient at fat metabolizing, right? This is the fat adaptation type thing. Ketone production is at its peak. So you're getting all the bonuses of ketone, like pure brain clarity, energy, lower hunger, like all these great things. I put potential improvements in insulin sensitivity, blood pressure, immune system. Right? Everybody's a little bit different. So maybe you'll get all of these, maybe you'll get some of these like benefits from it. I will say the more fat you have on your body, the easier it is for you to do prolonged fast. So if you have a really low fat percentage, it's going to be a lot tougher for you to do these kind of prolonged fasts because you just don't have this energy for your body to use. You can still do it, but you just can't. There's like more risk to it when you have a really low body fat percentage because you don't have a lot of those stores of energy to call on. Mind calmer and hunger minimal, which is true. I felt like I could keep going at this point. I really felt like I could keep going at day 7. Now, when you're refeeding, like, you got to eat again, right? So you can't just, the very first fast I did was like, I think it was like a 3-day fast. And I just had my normal I had bacon and eggs for breakfast the next day. And now I felt like, I wasn't like sick, but I definitely felt some like, oh my God, I ate too much. Like, high levels of that, right? So you got to refeed slowly because you got to remember your stomach is now like completely like, it's not used to processing. You gave it a break, you gave it a rest, really good for it, really great for it. But it's now got to like reactivate and get back into the flow of things. So you want to start with broth. I had a chicken bone broth that I made myself. So was like, okay, this is great because it like puts collagen back into your intestines, and collagen is kind of like it's like the scaffolding and the building blocks to your cells. So it really does help. There is some dangers involved if you just go through. I'm gonna just eat a pizza right after a 7-day fast, and I'm just gonna max a whole pizza, because I'm so hungry or whatever. That could be actually very kind of dangerous. So do not do that. Start slow. And I know once you have some broth or you have a little piece of fruit or something, now you're like hungry and it activates all that. But you got to be chill. You got to go like, you know, 2 hours, 3 hours, have a little bit more, 2 hours, 3 hours, have a little bit more. But I feel broth is the best way to start because this is going to get collagen into your body and start to get the scaffolding built up so you can start actually digesting food easily. So I did chicken bone broth and a couple eggs because eggs are pretty chilled if you don't eat like 6 of them or something. So that and eggs have, you know, tons of everything in it. So diluted juices, I don't really drink juice. I think it's just like sugar. I'd rather just eat an orange myself, but this is the recommended process, right? And then small portions. Probably don't want to eat like a full tomahawk day one. Maybe a couple bites. Save the rest of the tomahawk for later. Maybe a couple bites at the end of the day once you've refed some of the other, you know, easier things like some soups and stuff like that. You kind of got your body back in the process. But that's the whole story. I healed myself miraculously. I did some other things too. Like I said, put some ice on it, pretty consistent icing. And I stay supplemented with salt, no salt, and trace minerals. Got my magnesium, sodium, and potassium in there. And, you know, I thought healing thoughts for whatever that may be, whatever placebo, you know, the placebo effect, it works, right? Whatever you believe is what you achieve. I really do believe in that kind of stuff. So I definitely thought of like being healthy, and I was kind of imagining myself going out for a run and just feeling like I was going to be okay, and everything was going to work out just fine. And this fast was going to help me tremendously, which it did. And then I also did some very light exercise during, like even the first 3 days, I would drag myself out of bed and hobble down the stairs 1 foot, hand on the rail, and then just kind of walk around like this, like I was freaking 150 years old. And I would just walk around a little bit just to get to like as much movement safely as I possibly could. And I did it barefoot so I could ground, because you know, the electrons in the earth, that can also help reduce inflammation. A lot of people don't realize these things. There's like your body and nature is designed to get you into great health, but a lot of people are just so disconnected from it. Now, none of this is medical advice. I am not a doctor. Do not do anything I say or do. I am just telling you what I did myself when I went from I couldn't walk and I could barely get out of bed for 3 days, and I was in extreme pain, extreme swelling, extreme inflammation, felt like I tore my ACL, to now I'm great. I can jump up and down on my leg. I can squat. I went for a run on day 8. I went for a run, and my knee has actually still got the impingement. It's still like rotated a little bit, and there is like very minor. I'm not going crazy in the gym, so I'm not squatting a lot, and I'm not doing like freaking sprints or anything like that. I'm just getting myself back to a nice, normal, great feeling. So, and I feel great. So didn't re-rotate my knee into the right place. That didn't work. You know, it wasn't magical, but it did just. All the inflammation's gone. All those dead, damaged cells feel like they've been completely replaced with new cells. So that's my story of the miracle healing, a natural healing process of my body that I went through. Appreciate y'all. Love y'all coming down. Make sure to like and subscribe if you like this. We'll talk about more natural healing later on. Take care.